Welcome back, my friends. Now let's talk about something called UVs. Now UVs are really important because they allow us to project information of textures into our objects, pixels in this case. And we can do a lot of different things with this, but for now, let's just focus on the color and the texture and the pixels being applied or projected to our objects. Now, I'm going to bring another scene that I have here. I can go to Recent and I can bring these UVs. And you can see that I have just a flat material, just a regular material set to white and has been applied to a cube. I have these three different objects, but they are just regular objects, so nothing to worry about. Now, if you double click on this, you can see that we can bring information about color. So I can change the color of this, I can make it yellow, and that's because we are using this color channel. In my material, I have this color channel. I can go to make it green, make it blue, make it purple, red, pink. It doesn't really matter. All right. Now, but what happens if I want to apply a texture? I want to apply a logo or something that looks like a sticker on it. Well, if you want to do that, you need to start playing with something called UVs, and we need to bring a texture. Now, before we jump into bringing a texture, I'm just going to take this object, for example, and I want to show you what we call the UVs. Now, let me just I'm going to apply the same texture to the three objects that we have in here. So there we go. And something else that I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch my type of workspace that I'm using. I'm going to go here to Layout, and I'm going to change from Standard to something called UV Edit. So I'm going to click in here. My interface is going to change just a little bit, and then I'm going to bring it back so that you can see everything inside it. And there we go. All right, so we have this texture UV editor, and this texture UV editor allows me to see the coordinates of my textures. Right now there's nothing on it, and that's because I am not doing anything. You can see that my material in here looks kind of with an X. That means that it's not active, but if I click in here, now I can make it active. And now, right now, I don't have anything to show. You can see that it just looks like a material and with nothing on it, and I don't have anything to worry about right now. But that's what it's showing us here, information about textures. Now I'm going to bring, for example, the sphere, and now you can see that the sphere is showing me something different. It looks like a different type of texture, but this is not a texture, it's my UV coordinates. You are going from 0 to the right, from 0 to 1 to the right, and then from 0 to the top in the Y, in the V direction, so Y and V. And now whatever I do in this texture or in this space is going to affect the way this is going to be applied to the specific object that we are using. Now, right now, I don't have any kind of editable object, as you can see here, but we don't have to worry about that. And we have we don't have anything that we can edit right now. You can see that if I want, I can go to this kind of texture. I could go to Paint, and I could use my brush. And now the brush tool is going to help you with painting on top of your objects. Now this is not about painting, not about all of that, but you know, I just want you to get an idea of what UVs are. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take my material, this material that we have in here, and let me just bring my material channels, and I'm going to go here to Color again, and let me see if we can create a texture from here. We should be able to new texture. No, come on, new default material. Where is my material? And well, I'm just gonna double click in here. I thought we could. I'm pretty sure we can do it from there. But well, I'm just gonna take this, and I'm gonna go here from texture, and I'm gonna go to load image. So I'm gonna bring an image. In this case, probably this logo. I'm gonna click on open, and now you can see that we have that logo in here. Now we have a texture that we can use in order to paint in here. But now let's take a look at what is happening here on my objects. First of all, you can see the cube where the actual logo looks pretty nice in every single one of the faces of this cube, because the UVs that we are using for this object, which is the cube, you can see that the logo is fitting exactly in each one of these faces. Now each one of these faces is repeating the actual pattern that we have in this object. So every single one of them contains the same information, and that's why we are getting 6 different copies of the logo in each one of the faces. Now in case of the sphere, for example, we only have one single face, let's say that like that, one big piece, and we don't have a couple of little 6 pieces or 6 faces. Everything is just going to be applied to this. Now this is more like a map of the world where you see spheres that are projecting this type of effect, and that's what we are getting, and that's the type of seam that we are or the effect that we are getting in this kind of projection. Now how we are applying this, let's just try to paint something. For example, you can now get the brush tool, and now let's say that I want to add something here on the top of this guy. So you can see that I can paint in here on the top. If I want to create a circle, you can see that it's kind of there, but now look, the circle is going all the way in here and it's getting closer and like that, because we are kind of shrinking this. I mean, what we have here, it's kind of a wider section. Everything in here is wider, and then when we get to the top in here, it's just a little reduced. So you can see that this area is getting shrinked a little bit more in here, and that's what is happening. So that's actually what is happening here. This portion in here right now is wider than the region on the top. So we have more resolution here on the top than in the middle of this situation. And that's basically how everything is working. Now, if I take again, let's say this as my reference point, here I am starting my U's, and the information is going to travel from here all the way to here in the U, all right? And it's going to work from here all the way up to here in the V direction. And now you can see that all that information is being applied to here. So you can see the line that we have, it's right in here in this sphere, and it's coming from the bottom right here all the way to the top, and that's because that's where this thing is, and that's where the seam is. I mean, if I try to, now let me show you something else. If I try to connect this, let's say this logo from here to here, I'm gonna make it like this so that it doesn't connect, and now you can see that it's not connected. All right, so there's a space in between here. Now in order to make them connect, I need to connect this seam, okay, from this side to this other side, and now you can see that we are connecting these two from one side to the other, and that's what is happening. This portion starts repeating again and repeated again, and that's what is happening with this UV kind of structure. So at this point, you know, the cube is getting information flat, and that's why we are getting this nice projection. The sphere is getting a little bit more kind of a deformed type of option, and then we have this one that is using another type of projection called cylindrical. Now the cylindrical looks kind of similar to the actual sphere, where you know everything is kind of rounded all around the object, and you can see that it's connected as well, but is not stretching anything on the top. So that means that, for example, in here with the sphere, remember we have the sphere. If I try to create a circle in here on the top, you can see that it looks like a circle here on the top, but if I go to my cylinder, it doesn't look like a circle at all, because it's just going all the way around the actual object. You can see these little dots in here because in this case the sphere is just letting get a little bit of paint in between these little areas, and that's why it looks like that in here, because we are not getting that information. If I try to paint in here, you can see that I'm going to be applying something in here that probably you don't even going to be able to see. Oh, look at here on the top, and if I try to close this circle in here, it's going to look like we are doing that. But now if you take a look at the circle, you're going to see that it's not actually a circle. It's just information that is going away from the circle, and we are getting a mess in here. And now you can see the cube, how this is affecting the cube. So kind of something else, right? Now I'm going to undo this, and let's say that we want to paint in here a line just like that, so you can get it like this. And now you can see that on the top is going to appear like this. If I create a line in here, if I create a line in here in the center, now you can see that it's like a belt in this one, and again into this one. So that's basically what is happening. I think that that's now a great reference about what is going on. Now you can see here that at the top I can see the logo really nice and perfectly defined, because I mean we have 3 different portions. We are selecting three different sections. I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it editable. I'm going to take these objects, and now for example I can click and on my selection tool I'm going to select paint this, and now you can see that I'm selecting all of these faces where I can take them. And if I move them, I mean, the logo is not moving. You can see that stays and remains the same because that information is moving all together and the projection is still there. But what happens if I move only one of them? If I start moving one of them, you can see that I am actually distorting the projection, or yeah, the projection is still the same, remains the same, but I am distorting the geometry. And now the geometry needs to be defined again in order to apply this or project this image into this specific object. Now I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to take this sphere. I'm going to take the sphere. And one thing to keep in mind is that you can see right now that this sphere is using this kind of projection. And if I go to my material, and in this case, the material in here, well, no, because we will have to go back into into our previous viewport. But let me just show you here. So in this case, the cylinder contains this tag called UV tag, all right? UV weight tag. And the sphere doesn't have that because we have a regular, just normal, basic object. But they actually have these UV coordinates. Now, if I take the sphere and I make it editable, you can see that now it becomes, it contains now this UV editing tag. And if I remove it, you can see that now it's gone. And I can remove it from the cylinder as well. And now you can see that I don't have information for the textures. And that is because the UVs are not existing anymore. So we don't have these coordinates. We don't have these. We have the texture, and the texture is there, but these objects don't have coordinates. They can't read that information. So that's why they are really important. Now, if I want to bring again some information for these guys, what I have to do is I need to create a new set of UVs. And I can do that by going to this set UVs from projection, for example. And you can go in here, I believe, and you can call the UV manager, which is this section. And then I can go and create, call this UV from projection. And you can see that I can give it a name if I want to. And that's going to be the name, the same that the old tag used to have. And I'm using this sphere. And I want to create a projection type spherical. Now, if I want, I can create a flat one. And look at what happens if I use a flat one. I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that I created a new UV tag in here. And the projection that I'm using now, it's a lot nicer in this object. I mean, I can see the logo. And then I have the logo at the other side. And I have this kind of division in the middle. And that's kind of a really nice type of projection in this case for this logo. Now let's try to do the same thing with this guy. If I go in here, and remember, it doesn't have a UV tag in here. I'm going to go and let's go and say, you know what? You don't need a flat one. What if I make a cylindrical, in this case for this guy? Well, probably it's a cylinder. So if I go like that, you can see that I'm going to get kind of a perfect cylindrical face again that is going to be attached from one side to the other. But if I want to, I can undo this and I can go back in here and I can say, you know what, I want to have another type of projection, which in this case is going to be flat, for example, and click on OK. And now you can see that we have this type of flat projection where this object is now flat from one half of the object and just like the sphere. So I am getting this type of projection. Now, what else can we do? Well, I can remove this again from the sphere, let's say. And I can just change the angle of this and I can go one more time, and instead of using flat now I'm going to use frontal. Now if I go here to frontal, I can go click on OK, and oops, I was selecting the cylinder. I'm sorry, I want to use the sphere and I want to go to this guy, and instead of flat we're going to use frontal and we're going to click on OK. And now you can see what type of projection I am getting. This is it looks like it's a frontal actual logo, part of the logo. It looks like that, but it's actually, if I move this, you can see that I can't recognize the logo, and the UVs now coordinates are looking like this. So whatever you have in the front is going to be on the back, and it's just a mess because I mean it's just a projection. Now we can use these projections when dealing with visual effects and things like that, when we want to create just a background or basic shapes and things like that. But for now, what I want to do is I'm just going to go back and let's try to use another projection. So I'm going to select the sphere, I'm going to remove this, and now let's go and see this projection again, and frontal. Now you can see where the position is of that, and now you can see that I am getting more information of the logo now instead of what we had before. Now I can go closer And now because I am really close to this, I'm going to try to make it almost inside the camera here. Just going to put that in here. And one more time, I'm just going to go like that, frontal, okay. And now you can see that I almost get the actual object in place. So again, I'm just going to try to move this object a little bit here to the top, and just again, try to make it match. And really, you know, right now it doesn't really matter where the projection is kind of coming, but it's just in this direction coming frontal, and that's what we're getting. And that's the kind of projection that now I'm going to be seeing. So you have to place your object right in the camera angle that you place it in order to make it visible like that. And it's just about wrapping and wrapping things. And if you take a selection or a portion of this, you know, you're going to be painting your texture. And there's a lot to cover about UVs. For now, this is just the basics, just so that you can understand what is going on and why these textures appear like that. But we need to talk about UVs and all these different tools in another different class, because I mean we have just a lot of different tools and information that we can use in order to manipulate our UVs. But for now, that's it. Thank you very much, and I will see you in our next class. Bye bye for now, and take care.